showcasing some of the most amazing people around the world who are doing incredible things to make our world a better place. This is CUTV News. I'm Jim Masters. Thanks for joining us. Joining me on the show today is special guest Paula Vail. Paula is a noted and respected Usui Reiki master, teacher, published author, inspirational speaker, coach, and radio and TV host. She's also the owner of Wellness Inspired. Prior to her Reiki practice and radio show, Paula was a Tacoma, Washington area restaurant manager and owner for some 27 years, finding great joy in the service of others. Paula has had a Reiki practitioner experience, and she's been a Reiki practitioner for some 10 years now. She's passionate about the wonderful healing power of Reiki. Reiki has had a life-changing effect on her life as well, and she loves sharing the gift of Reiki with others. Now, in her business and in her life, she strives to teach the true essence of Reiki and to continue to grow her knowledge and expertise. She has brought her talents to radio and television, becoming a host of her first internet talk radio show on Voice America called For the Love of Reiki. The show then changed its name to Choices, Finding Your Joy. Paula's training includes various Reiki teachers, including William Lee Rand, whose workbooks and guidelines she uses in her teachings. She's had the great honor of receiving her Usui Master training in Peru as well. She's also a Level 3 Master in Serenity Vibrational Healing with crystal balls and illumination. Paula is also involved in ongoing training in shamanism and quantum healing techniques. She's won numerous awards and countless accolades for her work, and she was even featured on the huge billboard in New York City's Times Square. Her book, Why Am I So Happy?, is revolutionary, and we're going to talk about that during this interview. Paula loves doing charity work in the United States and around the world, serving and giving to people and animals as well. She's also passionate about respecting and working with others to save our planet. It is my great honor and pleasure to welcome our special guest, Paula Vail, to CUTV News for our exclusive one-on-one interview. Paula, thank you so very much for joining us. A real honor and a pleasure to have you here on CUTV News. And thanks for coming all the way here to the East Coast to our studio. We really appreciate it. How was your trip? Did you enjoy it? Knowing you, you probably met a lot of wonderful people on that flight and got some wonderful connections going on that flight as well.
Yes. Well, first, thank you, Jim. And yeah, it was a great flight over, and yes, I always do tend to meet people, chat, and just have a really good time.
One of the great things about you that I like in the conversations I've had with you, even off air, Paula, is this positive spirit and mindset that you have. Where does that come from? Is that in your DNA? Because I know you like to manifest positivity, empowerment, inspiration, as an inspiration coach. So tell us about where you think that comes from deep inside Paula Vail.
I do really think it is deep inside. My whole life I've been very gratitude oriented. And I think it triggers from the fact I was a preemie baby, 2 pounds something, not supposed to survive the night. And I survived. So I've always had a grateful heart.
A survival instinct.
I was meant to survive, and I'm going to be grateful. And I've, just always had the mindset, I'm going to choose to be happy. We all have challenges. We all have things that happen and that we go through, but we make a choice what direction we're going to take. And I've always felt I had a server's heart. And I've always had a lot of joy in helping other people have more joy. Sharing a smile, something as simple as sharing a smile, opening a door, little things like that, or a gift we give ourselves.
Do you ever feel like you're fighting a tide that's going in another direction? A lot of people talk about how civility is disappearing and how respect is going away and how we're so absorbed in our own lives and what we're doing, and we're not holding the doors and we're not saying thank you, and we're connected technologically but not really connected humanistically. Do you find sometimes in all of this positivity and the desire to bring happiness to people that you're fighting against the tide?
Yes, yes. And really, all we can do as individuals is be an example. Be what we are. Put out to others in the universe what we are. Something I tell my Reiki students, we talk about, it's everyday life, it flows like a river. Okay? So we're in this beautiful flowing manifestation river, you could call it, to the divine source, whatever you want to call it. And on top of the river is waves, okay? And there's going to be rocks. There's going to be things, and these are challenges in life, things that might irritate us. And that water just hits those rocks. We have a choice. We can be the wave, and we can be hitting those rocks, hitting those logs, and in pain and anger, or we can be the warm, loving flow of that manifestation river. And, you know, see those rocks. Go through, past those rocks, where we go. But don't take that in. Deal with it, go around the rock. The river may go another direction. A challenge may send us in another direction. But there can be positive things coming from that in what we put out there, and accepting. I think a lot of life is when we have challenges and things we go through, we don't want to accept it. And so we continue to fight it and fight it.
Or block
instead.
it or suppress
Yes.
it. Oh, this too shall pass. Or,
Yes.
you know, I'm not going to deal with it head on because it's too painful, or I just don't want to relive it again. But sometimes you actually have to confront pain. You have to deal with it. And if it has to rise to the surface when you tap into it, it's almost like a rebirth or a cleansing. It can be worse if you don't deal with things that are lingering sometimes.
Yes.
Is there truth to that, you think?
Yes, I do. I mean, deal with it, look at it, make a decision how you're going to move on and handle it. Make a decision with compassion and love, and then move on.
So, in the life of Paula Vail, positive, happy, with a wonderful smile, but even Paula Vail, as we all do, has gone through trials and tribulations and things in her own life as well that have brought you to this point of being so positive and having this manifestation of wanting to empower people, right?
Yes, yes. And I really feel it's, in a way, I look at it as a blessing, the things I've gone through. Losing family members, having gone through a crash and an injury, pain, you know, suffering things, being a single mother, running a business. But I feel that has helped me have more understanding and empathy for others that are going through things like that.
How did you get to that point? Because as oftentimes we're going through those things and dealing with the day-to-day of how to get through the loss of a spouse, a loved one, some people a child, perhaps maybe trying to create a business, all these different things. You can feel very alone. You can feel like you're on a raft by yourself. You're so fraught with dealing with the issues day-to-day as they're happening. How do you get from that point to being able to turn that around and find light in all of that?
For one, I really believe in staying open to manifestation and what can come through in a positive way. I see it as we have two hands. With this hand, I'm going to have my goals. I'm going to have what I strive for, what I work for, what I'm passionate about and want to accomplish. But I'm going to not be so focused on that that I may block things that I've never dreamed possible, things that could manifest. So on this hand, I'm doing my work, I have my goals, but you know what? This hand is wide open to source and manifestation and what may come through. And so I believe when you have the challenges, you do everything you can to address it, move on. To help you be positive is to know, I don't know what's going to come, but I trust, and I will allow beautiful, positive things to come into my life. Life will improve.
Now, in order to, on that sort of train of thought still of getting to that point, how we can get out of the stuckness of a situation and move on to find that light, find that positivity, were there people in your life that showed you the light, or did you have to find it yourself deep within? Were there people who influenced you, people that you could count on that helped you through things, or was it all the survivor that Paula is that pulled you through a lot of these different things in your life and continue to today?
Yeah. Well, with growing up, there were things with family that was very challenging and heartbreaking, but then there were those few, also family members that helped make me strong. In junior high, I was what you'd call a bullying victim. I was teased a lot. I was very shy. But it was a family member helped me realize, you just be you, and you just be proud of you and move on. So I did have that, which I'm really grateful for. But a lot of for me, a lot of what got me through a lot of my challenges was my animals, my pets. I'm a big pet lover. And then once becoming a mother, I just, found that to be the greatest joy in the world. So there's just been both, the negatives and the positives. And so it's the direction I leaned.
Have you always been a caretaker type? Always caring for others and helping people through and wanting to heal them and make their lives better?
I think I have. I've kind of always felt I have a server's heart. But that's brought me joy.
So Paula, being a caretaker type, a giver in service to others, how do you not fall victim to either being vulnerable or taken advantage of sometimes by others when they realize that you're going to run to their aid, you're going to be there to serve others? How do you handle that?
That's a great question, Jim, because that can be a challenge. Because you are serving others, you want to help others, and you have to really be able to keep your eyes open and look at situations and what you're doing and say, okay, this is what I'm doing, I'm fulfilled, this is going well, or this is a situation that may be hurting me, or maybe going in a negative direction. And you have to look at that lovingly and say if I need to let this go or if I need to set a standard. And especially when you're someone who's very empathic and just your heart goes out to others, that can be a challenge. I mean, you really do have to find balance, and you have to remember, I believe, love yourself first. Because if we let negative things come in and criticize ourselves and forget how beautiful we are and how in control we are of our own life and happiness, that's number one. And by remembering that and loving ourselves, that enables us to do so much for others and help others, because love empowers us.
It really does, doesn't it? And when you can share it with others and see the joy and the light that you're giving them, it comes back twofold, tenfold, doesn't it?
Yes, yes.
And you've had that happen many, many times in your life, right?
Yeah.
So it drives you to want to do it even more.
Yes.
See, that's fantastic when that happens. And you probably have a lot of aha moments, and you don't box yourself in. You follow the flow of life and the energy of life. Because I know you're very big with energy, right? Tell us about energy and how important it is to recognize energy, and that we all have energy.
We do. We do. we have our life force energy running through us. And it's huge. It tells our DNA what to do and keeps us in balance. It boosts us, but our energy, there's the physical side of it, and then there's our emotional, there's what we give off. People can feel our energy. You can walk in a crowded room with a smile on your face, or just your mood and the energy you're giving off, and it's fascinating to see how it can affect others in the room. It really is fascinating.
Which is amazing, because that could be positive energy,
yes,
negative energy. If you come in already wound up and
yes,
negative, that will bring maybe a very positive room
yes,
down,
yes,
won't it?
Absolutely. And we each have that power. And some have said to me, some of my Reiki students have said, well, what do I do when I'm around negative people? How do I not let that affect me? Well, I believe if you make the choice to be positive, I think, for one thing, every morning, think of something you're grateful for. That one thought is going to affect the direction of your day.
And that can even involve if the person is going through some chronic pain too, right? Physical, not just spiritual or emotional pain, but physical pain too. There are ways to sort of find some positivity or some solace in some of it, right?
Yeah.
Because there's a message in everything in life, isn't there?
Yeah. And pain is a message. Pain is a message.
Of endurance and stamina and resilience, things of that nature.
It's eye-opening.
Have you dealt with that in your life as well?
I have. I was in a car accident. I was hit sitting at a red light, and I've had 3 neck surgeries. And there were a couple times, and I was in so much pain that it was like I could see wanting to kill myself. This is
right.
But
beyond.
Yeah,
right.
I see it as a blessing now because it helps me understand what other people are going through. And when you're in a lot of pain, there are things we can do. So, and tomorrow can improve, whether it be medications, whether it be something done. Reiki, for example, is wonderful with pain, but it does affect us. And the main thing is to just take one day at a time.
Absolutely.
That's all we can do this moment.
Some of the things you're talking about, Reiki, and there's other things that you're very involved in, which I mentioned in the introduction. Before we talk about some of those wonderful things that you do that can actually help people get through these scenarios in life that we're talking about, take us back further. You owned a restaurant for many years, a restaurant that you were an employee of first, and take us through, like, even before the restaurant. What were you doing before even the restaurant? Raising the children?
Well, I started working in a restaurant going to college.
Wow.
So that was my beginning there, and I started out as just a hostess and a waitress. Then I became the manager for many years.
Now, at that point, did you have an idea what Paula wanted to be and what she wanted to do? Was there a trajectory that has led to what you're doing now, or?
I did. I was going to college. I was going to be an accountant.
Wow.
I had it all figured out. I was going to have a little house with a sign on my porch.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And I ended up running the restaurant and then buying the restaurant, but the accounting came in handy.
Sure.
But I spent most of the time out with my customers and on the floor and did the bookwork. So it just shows, there you go. What direction, we never know what may open up.
And did you dream of owning that restaurant, or it just happened to,
I didn't in the beginning, but I fell in love with it. I did. I fell in love with it.
What kind of restaurant was it?
Yeah, Italian food.
Ooh. You didn't bring any in your luggage, did you?
Authentic Italian food. It was wonderful.
Go to the West Coast for that, right?
Yeah.
So what experience, what did you learn from the experience of owning a restaurant? You're dealing with all kinds of personalities, all kinds of different people. People are coming to the restaurant not just for nourishment, but for an experience. They want their troubles left at the door. Sometimes they bring their troubles in the door. You deal with all types of people. So what was that, how did that restaurant experience enhance you and some of the work that you're doing now?
It really helped me working with the public. You learn so much with that. You also learn to work under pressure. We're slow, we're slammed. You learn so much in that kind of situation. And then as I became a manager and the owner, you learn to work and be an employer. And I was very oriented that with the staff members, we're a team. We're a team in this business, and everyone benefits. And that really helped the restaurant be successful. And we had loved the customers. I loved my customers so much. Yeah.
So did you hang on to the restaurant? Did you sell the restaurant?
I eventually sold it.
That must have been
It was
tough.
like cutting my arm off.
Like it was your baby.
It was. It was. It was a big
What
decision.
was the turning point for you to say, it's time to move on to do other things? Because you put so much of your blood, sweat, and tears and financial investment and your life into this restaurant.
You know, I'd been working several years as a single mom. My husband had passed away due to health issues, and dealing with that and long hours, but the kids worked there with me, which made it fun. But then my brother passed away suddenly, and I just had to say, I need to relook at life a little bit. And maybe I should sell the restaurant. And I just kind of put that out there, and next thing I know, someone's offering me something, so I sold the restaurant.
When you sold the restaurant, what were the sensations like for you? Was there any sense of relief? Burden put away? Was it burdensome? Was there fear of what do I do next? Was there joy? Or did you feel like it was a loss, grieving?
Well, at first it was like, okay, I'm going to have more time and more family time. And then it was like, literally, it was like I went through withdrawals because I'm such a people person, and I wasn't.
And you were the star of the show.
Everyone,
people came to see you as
and I
much
was like,
as the
oh
food.
my gosh. So I went and got myself a job as a receptionist for a builder company, and just loved that. And then...
When did the Reiki start to come in? Were you learning about Reiki and studying it and then becoming an expert at it during all this, or did this come later? And how were you introduced to it?
It was during my time as a receptionist for this company, and I had a white German Shepherd that owned my heart, and she was very ill. And someone said to me, you should learn Reiki, and I'd never heard of it. So I started learning Reiki, and I fell in love with it. I just fell in love with it.
What was it about Reiki that spoke to you?
I've already been very connected and grateful spiritually, you know, believe in God, and that I was a miracle, meant to be here. And the Reiki actually even made that stronger. And then just it elevates us vibrationally. And then seeing what it does for others, being able to offer that to animals, to people, it just absolutely, I'm still in awe. I just think Reiki is wonderful. And I'm very big on the vibration level that we reside in. Anger, hatred, envy, those are low vibration energies. Love, compassion, caring, those are high vibration energies. So where we choose to reside energetically is what we're going to attract. It is.
Can it change? Can we go from low to high, high to low, or is it something that goes up and down and doesn't stay fixed?
Yeah, because we're humans, and because things happen, challenges come, and actually, you know, the anger can come in over something, and really that anger can be transformed. I'm angry about this, and that will make me stronger because let's say it's how someone's treated or something happens. Because I have love and compassion in me, that is going to make me a stronger force in doing something positive for what I'm upset with.
That's incredible, huh? And when you can share that with other people, there's nothing better, right?
Yeah.
It's really amazing.
I love it.
So how long have you been doing Reiki? A long time now, right?
12 or 13 years now.
For people that are watching this segment, how do you define what Reiki is? They may have heard of this phrase Reiki, but they're not clear on what Reiki does, how it works, and what some of the benefits are of it.
Yeah. It's basically tuning into life force energy, and I kind of also see it as like a prayer modality. You just basically, when someone becomes a Reiki practitioner, it's through what's called an attunement, originally called initiation, and you just kind of activate this increased connection to energy flow that we already have. So let's say I'm offering Reiki to someone. I activate my Reiki. Reiki energy flows through us. Energy is around every one of us. And this energy comes through our palm chakras, our eyes, our breath, and you send that to the person you're offering Reiki to, and it helps physically, emotionally, raises their vibration, raises their immune system. And it's just, and we get healed too. I mean, it's a beautiful thing. There is no negative, it's all positive. I mean, you can rub your hands and you can feel that energy. That's our energy field. And it being in balance is huge. Reiki will break apart imbalances, toxins. They say that Reiki can discern and break up a disease 6 months before it manifests. It's just, it does so many things,
So
what I've seen over the years.
for our audience to sort of visualize it, are you sitting alone and is it thinking certain positive thoughts? Are there physical movements to it, sort of like Qigong or yoga or other different things? In terms of the application of Reiki, how does that work?
Basically just sitting. I can be sitting here and be offering, sending that energy through me to another person just like that.
Is there touch or not necessarily?
It's a light touch.
It's a light touch, right.
Yeah.
And it's a transfer of energy? Is it a transfer of energy that you have in you that maybe has come from another source that is flowing through you, sort of like you're the facilitator, you're the conduit?
Yes, I am the conduit. That energy is coming through me to wherever I'm offering that Reiki. And we can Reiki ourselves.
We can.
Yes.
It's kind of like EFT tapping, which I'm sure you're very familiar with too, where people have said there's different trigger points where if you're in rush hour traffic and there's road rage going on, people around you are going crazy and you're feeling sort of anxious, there's different trigger points, places where you can tap, which can actually sort of cool that down and calm you down as well. Sort of similar to, so there's self-application to this.
Yes.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Yeah. It's really a beautiful modality.
Have you had to do that? Are there times, when you turn to the self-application of it, is it usually when you're stressed and when you're like, oh, I need to, it's like your own medicine, or do you do it habitually, daily, just to keep things flowing and positive?
Every morning I activate my Reiki and give myself a little
Activate
Reiki.
my Reiki.
Yeah, Reiki the room.
That's
and
right.
Like my office studio, I do my radio shows, plus I do my Reiki sessions and classes in there, and you can just feel the energy in the room. The rooms will get brighter.
Does it require a heightened sense of consciousness and awareness to feel the energy, to be aware of it, to notice it and appreciate it? Because we're so busy in our lives where we're running around, And there's a lot of things in life we miss that we're not aware of, or we don't take time to really notice the signs that we're getting. So does it require adapting a higher consciousness and more self-awareness to be able to fully appreciate Reiki and things like that? Do I have to develop that?
In a way, yeah, because the Reiki, you're going to have a stronger connection if your vibration is higher. And the Reiki is going to raise your vibration. But I really believe in anything we do, what's in your heart is a big factor. I read in a book once that, you know, you're like a pipe, the Reiki running through you. Ego is the hammer that breaks the pipe, and I really believe that. I believe if someone says, my Reiki's better than yours, no, the Reiki isn't yours. Reiki, that energy's coming through you. But
so it's unique to the individual and the people and the situation and whatever it may be.
Yes.
Wow, that's fascinating. So it's not one size fits all. It's not a cookie cutter approach. It's tailored and customized for the individual and what their hopes and dreams and desires are and things of that nature, right?
Yeah. And with anything, I think, and trust with Reiki, trusting, I believe, is a big part of it.
Even when you're working with individuals with something like Reiki, with anything like that, establishing that sense of trust between you and them and you, is essential, right? How do you go about doing that?
Yeah. Well, it's usually if someone comes, they're fairly open, but sometimes you have someone, you know, clients come
unsure, resistant,
the injury or something like, oh yeah, right.
Right.
And for them, I call them Reiki newbies, but just to see what they feel and experience. And because for them it's basically relaxing, it can help with pain. It's a beautiful thing to see that. And everyone's an individual, how much you take in. But then on that, with that being said, with Reiki, with acupuncture, with medicine, anything, I believe our mindset makes a difference. Positive attitude versus negative attitude.
Well, they say that even with illnesses too. A lot of times these illnesses that we get or that we have that become worse are due to the fact that the mindset is negative and down and depressive.
Yeah.
And that sort of depresses the immune system and has all of these negative. The gut is another area that they say is almost like its own brain. They're really realizing that internally is a key component to everything too. It's almost like its own heart, its own brain. That's more revolutionary in recent news, isn't it? People realizing that the gut plays a big role in things too.
Yes.
A lot of things come from there. There's a lot of energy there that can go another direction.
It really is fascinating. Our bodies, our energy field, it's fascinating.
Tell me about how Reiki has benefited your life. People watching might say, okay, this sounds wonderful, this sounds soothing, relaxing, calming. I think I even hear a bird cooing in the background there. Do you hear that little hoo? It's the perfect time. It must be a dove.
Yeah.
But how has Reiki benefited your life?
It's just been life-changing. I really believe it's helped me health-wise. It's helped me with raising my vibration, my intuition. But the gift it's given me in helping others, offering it to students, teaching them, offering it to animals.
How do you, that's fascinating. How do you do Reiki on animals? And is it any kind of animal, or is it more cats and dogs? And how does it work?
Animal. All my rescue pets have gotten Reiki, but I've literally Reiki deer in the yard and seen them lay down.
Really?
And lay there. I mean,
is that from a distance?
All animals feel it, yeah.
Really?
From a distance, and they all feel it. And I have clients that bring their dogs and cats, and I had my first chicken this year. Someone brought a chicken. We gave Reiki to the chicken. But animals are very
receptive to it?
Receptive to it, Yeah.
That's fantastic.
It's beautiful.
So what are some other ways that it's benefited Paula's life?
I think it's helping me to, health-wise,
Are you more centered,
helping me
more balanced,
vibrationally.
more fulfilled?
And yes, yeah, absolutely more fulfilled. And the joy of bringing that in my life and having that to not only enhance my life but share with others has just been beyond words.
You're also writing a book.
Yes.
Tell us about this exciting book that you have been working on, and possibly when folks watch this segment, the book may already be out.
Yeah.
But tell us about the book. What inspired you to want to write a book and put pen to paper?
The book is called Why Am I So Happy? And
Interesting title.
Yeah, inspired me to write that and have that title is because I've always been asked that.
People have come up to you and said,
Yeah.
Paula,
Well,
why are you so happy?
yeah, yeah. Are you
The
so
world
happy?
is blowing
What's-
up.
Yeah.
What are you doing happy?
Yes. And I've
Interesting.
had to explain it. And it's not that I haven't had challenges, and I know everyone does, but I really, really in my heart believe happiness is a choice we make. That we can choose that direction. And, you know, with what we look at, what we're grateful for. And I just, over the years, with sharing that with people, I decided to write a book. And it's going to talk about a lot of different aspects of why we're not happy, why we want to be happy, things that can trigger different things, different emotional triggers. I mean,
Are we
I'm
spending?
really excited.
Oh yeah, it sounds fantastic. Do you feel that we're spending in our society sometimes too much time worrying about what everybody else is doing and the lives they're living? Social media can breed that too, because
Yeah.
people are watching what everybody else is doing, and then they feel like their life doesn't equal,
Yeah.
and maybe what they're looking at isn't even real. It's created by that other person. But do you feel that also contributes to a lot of this too, in terms of happiness and satisfaction and balance, that people seem to be craving a sense of a purpose? But like you say, happiness is a choice and comes from within. There are certain
Yes.
things in life that can make you happy. There's certain things, you know, you can have vanilla ice cream and you feel happy,
Yes.
and a temporary sort of high that you get from it, but it's not long-lasting, real happiness. So tell us a little bit about, you know, some of those influences out there where we may be trying to live other people's lives without looking for the happiness that we can create for ourselves.
Yes, and I believe that is something that's so out there and easy to let that happen to us, is to let our happiness be by what others think, what others view us, what others want us to be. When our happiness, we have that inside us.
So the tools are there.
The tools are there.
We just need to learn to be able to tap into them and let them rise to the
Yes.
surface. Now, this is what you can help people do, right?
Yes.
So what are some of the ways that you can go about helping somebody who doesn't know how to tap into that, let it rise to the surface, who doesn't value themselves enough or have enough self-esteem or self-confidence to feel that there's anything inside that they can tap upon?
Yeah. I would help them in the way they look at things, the way they address things. I would help them in thinking about where they are vibrationally and making moves to change that. And even with what they look at in a day, or even take a few minutes to write down something they're grateful for, or something that makes them happy. Because what makes you happy, it may be making cupcakes, or it may be
That's a
for
good
you
one.
planting a tree,
Yeah.
or it may be riding a motorcycle.
Sure.
We are all unique. And you know, I believe what helps people is helping them remember to celebrate their uniqueness and their beauty. Just that right there can just open up.
And
So
again, that's a
much.
release of that positive energy.
Yeah.
which then people are attracted to, right? There is that law of attraction. When you're putting out good energy, positive energy, reinforcing energy, making others feel safe and secure and comfortable about themselves because you're settled, you're balanced.
I would say if you're afraid to and don't want to look outside, or you're fearful, then let's look at inside and look at the beautiful things in you and what you are, and love that. And that right there is going to start something. And that's going to start that love, because that love is going to reach out. And don't think you have to do it all in one day.
That's
Take it one day at a time.
Right.
I'm a little happier today.
Yeah,
I
don't
feel
rush.
a little better today. I feel a little better today again. I feel good about what I just did or what I just said to someone. I feel really good about what I just created or what I accomplished at work. And just let it go in small steps.
Let it happen. Because it could take time.
Yeah.
All good things come to those who wait, right? Let's talk a little bit more about the book. Why Am I So Happy? It's an interesting title because a lot of times, sometimes people are afraid to be happy because maybe if I'm happy or I'm too happy, that means lurking around the corner is something that's going to try to get rid of the happiness or destroy the happiness or make me unhappy. So I don't want to get too happy. We're happy, but I can't get too happy for fear that everything around me is going to fall apart and I won't be able to recover happy again. I'm sure we've all experienced that. How do we deal with that? People that just feel, oh, well, I don't want to be too happy, you know, because I'm fearful that something's going to come and steal that happiness away.
Well, I would just say trust. That look at it as I'm not afraid that something's going to come steal it. I think I'm going to become happier. And that's okay. Just celebrate that. Our every day, tomorrow's not guaranteed. So right there is something to be grateful for, that we are here today, that you and I are sitting here today, Jim. And we can be happy about that. Fear is a low vibration. So if you're fearful, say, okay, why am I? Okay. What can I do to change that or make a difference? Okay. What I can do is look at what I see coming or what I would like to feel. And I'm going to let that go and be in the moment and appreciate that day. And just think about, I'll see things or hear things happen and okay, what am I going to do to that? Okay, now what I can do, I'm doing.
Do you take a deep breath too? Do you breathe?
And take a
Breathing
deep breath,
is important,
relax,
right? Breathe.
And say, okay, I'm one person, but what can I do today as that one person to be a positive energy, to be a positive influence, and to keep my energy positive? And just thinking of the moment and taking the time to relax.
What do you do when you feel overwhelmed? What do you do when the world is putting all these demands on you and you're still trying to figure a few things out, but everybody's coming at you at once? I need this, I want this, help me with this. How do you pick and choose or negotiate that sort of whitewater current?
Yeah. Take a breath and I kind of make a map. I think, okay, I'm going to map this out. I'm going to do this. I'm going to strive for this. I'm going to send positive energy to this. And I'm just going to take it one step at a time.
That's really what it's about. These are all life lessons. These are things that we're told sometimes early on in our lives, but life takes us in different paths and we lose track. Balance, moderation, take time for yourself, follow your heart. These are things that are really basic and free and right in front of us, but sometimes life itself gets in the way, right?
Yes, yes. And life itself can be so busy.
Right.
We can get so busy and all the demands that it is hard to take a few minutes for ourselves and a few minutes to think about, this is good.
What really matters too, because sometimes we're chasing things that we think are meaningful because it's what everybody else is doing.
Yeah.
It's what's popular, it's what's in vogue, it's the fad. And then you realize, you come to a certain time in your life when you say, yeah, but maybe not so much. Maybe that isn't really for me, or that's not the direction my life should go in, right?
Yeah.
Follow that when you are questioning, when you're saying it. Follow that, right? Don't let that slide, because that's sort of like an alert, a wake-up call.
And, you know, remember to look at the big picture. So many times we give so much attention to the small stuff. Oh, I didn't get the parking spot that I wanted, or I didn't. Those things really don't deserve a lot of our attention.
Right.
I mean, what's important in life is the big picture.
Let's talk more about the book, too. Why Am I So Happy? Because this is an exciting thing in your life. What was the writing process like for you? Was this a situation in creating this book that you started to write, then stopped, started to write, stopped? Did this take a long time for you to get the actual stamina to go to it full steam? Or did you just come out of the gate and say, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do it now?
I've basically pieced it together, and it's been absolutely fascinating because I'll write, something will come to me on a different topic, or something I want to put on the book. I may be driving in the car and a thought comes to me. Oh my gosh, I'm going to talk about that. Oh, that's the direction I want to go.
Oh, that's cool.
And
do you journal that right away?
And I journal it right away.
Yeah, to keep that.
And I put all the notes together, and then I branch out. But things just come to me. So in a way, I see it as Source is helping me write this book.
It's like a series of aha moments.
It is.
That are happening in your life, and you're capturing them. They're almost like a wand blowing bubbles, and you're capturing the bubbles.
That's
and saving them,
it.
and then assembling them together. Is there a thread to the book? Is there a, A to Z? Is there like lessons throughout the book, or is it just a variety? Meaning, like with chapter 1, how do you start with chapter 1? What is chapter 1 about?
Yeah, chapter 1 is basically a bit of my story and why I want to write the book, and then chapter 2 is basically, what is happiness? What is happiness? And that's a unique thing to everyone. So really, it's quite a variety in the different chapters. Another chapter is happiness that we get from others, happiness that we let others create or block our happiness. But it's just all different ways of looking at life and happiness in the direction we go. But really, it has been just like catching bubbles. Things just come to me and I jot it down. Oh my gosh, I want a chapter on that theme.
Are you also influenced by people around you too, and add that into your journal? Like, wow, that was an amazing thing that I just saw or witnessed, or a reaction that person had. Are people inspiring you as well?
Yeah, I would say so. In seeing others and watching others.
Are you a people person, observer of life?
Very much a people person.
Yeah.
And
observe life.
Yeah, nature person, animal person, and
So all those things are influencing you then. What do you hope people get out of the book? I know the book is something that is a labor of love for you. Anytime anybody takes the time to open up and to reveal and to want to have people connect with the book. The book is a reflection of you. The book is an extension of Paula Vail. So what do you hope people are left with that book?
I would like to see them have new perspectives, you know, add to what they already have. But I mean, isn't life about thinking about something we may not have thought about in a certain way? And that's what I would like to see, is maybe different perspectives, something that went, wow, you know, that, I like that. I have a new perspective that I'm going to take with me from this moment on. So,
what are some other exciting things that you're working on as well? Like you mentioned, you do a radio show, and I know you've won several awards too. You even had your, was it your image on the big billboard at Times Square in New York City?
Yes, I mean, like that's 8 stories tall.
The big time.
It was,
now, did you get to see, were you there when it came on, or did they send you an image of it? Or?
Yeah, they sent me an image. And then last
Stop
December,
traffic in Times Square.
Yes, when I went to New York City, I had to go and stand and look at that.
Wow. So what was that like? What was that for somebody who started out as a quiet, reserved, shyer type person who's made various advancements and had a lot of growth in her life as a person, as an individual, as a human contributing to society in such a positive way? When you look back at the young girl version of Paula, and then Paula on a billboard in the center of the universe in Manhattan, New York City, in Times Square, that's quite a journey.
Yeah, it really goes to my mindset of being open to manifestation. I never dreamed in my life. I would never even tried to get into Times Square. It just had never entered my mind, or to be on magazine covers or any of that. But it shows what can happen. But you know what it really tells me? Anyone, whether it be a small thing, can make a difference in other people's lives. And that caring about people, animals, the planet, that caring is a beautiful, good thing, and things come from that. And it's really a blessing.
Have you had some feedback from that too, when you were on that billboard in New York City?
A lot of feedback.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's incredible, huh? How do you top that? I guess an image of yourself on Mount Rushmore's next?
Yeah, I don't know.
Climbing Mount Everest?
Yeah.
That could be. But you're touching people and their lives in a more direct, intimate way even than the Times Square billboard, which is a phenomenal thing, but on a daily basis. And that's really what speaks to and what you're really all about. But you also do, again, some of these projects. Let's talk a little bit about some of these cool projects that you're working on a regular basis. Radio show, other things.
Yeah, the radio show. I love sharing so many amazing people. I'm a advocate for fundraising. You know, I do things for the military. I've given Reiki to our homeless in my
Which is
area.
Very nice, yeah.
I've been to Africa. I'm a board member of orphansafrica.org. I mean,
what was that like? Yeah, wow. That is a real wake-up call, right? That is a real.
Yeah, I mean, that's a wake-up call. Everyone should see that. The people were beautiful, but the poverty and the suffering. Oh my gosh.
Did you feel powerless when you were there in Africa in that situation, or did you feel, well, whatever little contributions I'm able to make as one individual, I'm good with that, as opposed to not making any contribution? Obviously, you can't solve all of the world's problems, but
it's heartbreaking because you want to help everyone. You want to help every child. You want to see every child get to go to school. But with the supplies that we took to different schools, feeding different children, but then you'd see children that aren't in school, that can't go to school. I mean, but I really think everything, little things someone can do. For $20 a month, you can help a child go to school. Or in the U.S., you can donate snacks to schools that have homeless children. I mean, there's so many things we can do, even if it's a little bit. And if you can't spend money, you can give a little bit of your time. I mean, we gain when we help others. We really do.
Don't we? Yeah.
We do.
I always say in order to be able to feed, you have to be fed. And in order to be fed, you have to feed. So it is like cyclical. It really is. What feeds you on a daily basis? What feeds Paula Vail to wake up every day and take on that day and be positive and see experiences like you did in Africa, but just in everyday life, the things that come at you, the experiences you've had and the experiences you'll continue to have. What feeds you and inspires you?
Well, I'm very inspired by family. Love family. Love watching the grandkids. But on the bigger picture, I'm inspired what I can do as one person in making a difference in another life, whether it be helping with in Africa, or helping our homeless, or our military, or a Reiki client coming who's in a lot of pain or a lot of trauma, and being able to just offer them some love and some positive energy. All those things. I really think I've found my passion in life.
Your bliss.
Yeah.
Your bliss. You're living your bliss.
Yeah.
And there's sometimes nothing more incredible and beautiful than that, right? When you find your bliss, because it's what you're going to be doing forever. And you're reaching so many people, and you're touching their lives in ways that allow them to then pay it forward. Because if they feel satisfied and fulfilled and happy, their health changes for the good. There's a lot of other benefits, residual effects, icing on the cake effects to all of this, right?
Yes, yes. I've always said, I am not my car. Don't judge me by the car I drive.
Oh, I like that.
Judge me by what's in my heart.
I'm not my car. That's your second book.
Yeah.
Why am I so happy? And I'm not my car.
There you go, Jim.
Journal that.
I love it.
That's an aha moment,
it.
right?
Okay. Yeah.
Because
I've always said that.
I am not my car. I love my car. I love the torque and the turbo and the acceleration, but you're not your car. Right.
But I'm not my car.
Well, because now the reason why you say that is because we live in a society where we're judged by these exterior, external things, the house, the car, the shirt, the hairstyle,
and that's
versus
all gravy.
taking time to really know the person. Because the person that's in that car, they may love that car, they like the look of it, the feel of it, the power of it, but as soon as they step out of the car stays in the driveway. They're a totally different individual.
I see much more value in a hug.
Than the vehicle.
Than the vehicle.
So what's in the future? The book, of course, and you do Reiki and all these wonderful things. I mean, you really come from a well-rounded experience. And I think also, as you and I were talking off air before we went, and the cameras went on with our interview, it sounds as though that you are, as an inspirational type coach, somebody that is really set up to continue to empower people, male, female, women especially, because of all the successes you've had in business. I mean, it's very, very empowering to other women who may be up and coming, thinking about starting a business, entrepreneurial, things of that nature, but really across the board for everybody. So I think all these experiences that you've had in your life tie together neatly to be somebody who can speak from expertise and experience on how to not only meet the challenges of life, but get through them in a positive way and be a positive light for others. You see yourself in that role. I know you're very humble. I see that reflecting in you. But do you see that reflecting in you?
I do. And I really enjoy speaking engagements and sharing positivity and interaction. I see myself as, even though I didn't become an accountant, I have a PhD in people.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. And I think that is something very valuable.
What do you see as the future for Paula? What are some other things that you'd like to do? You take all of this, you know, as you're in this forward movement, the train's on the track, you have all these wonderful things. We're doing this interview.
Yeah.
We've done radio shows together. So what's next for Paula? What are some other things you'd like to do?
I'd like to continue with what I'm doing, the shows, speaking engagements, the books. My life's dream is, I still have the property where I grew up in Centralia, Washington, is to create a nonprofit animal rescue and Reiki retreat center.
Oh,
I could teach Reiki classes, we could give Reiki to the animals. But I just want to see the waves that have begun to continue to grow. I just want to be a positive influence.
Well, we're so happy to be riding the wave with you here
Thank you, Jim.
today in the studio and throughout all the wonderful things we've been doing together with you, Paula.
Thank you.
What would be one bit of information, or in this case, inspiration, that you can leave for somebody who's watching right now, who may be going through a tough time? Maybe they're a little stuck. Maybe they're looking at the positivity and happiness that you're exuding as Paula Vail, and they are saying to themselves, gee, I wish I could get to that point. You know, why is she so happy? How do I become happy and content and feel safe and secure? What would you say to somebody watching right now who's in that spot?
I would say, you are unique, you are beautiful, you are love, you're full of love, you are loved, and the best thing is, you control your life and your direction and your thoughts, and celebrate that and say, I have that ability and I have that control. So I'm going to decide right now where I want my thoughts to go and how I feel about myself. Because no matter what, we're all human. We all have our ups and downs, but we all are loved and we all have a lot of beauty inside of us.
As do you, Paula Vail.
Oh, thank you, Jim.
A real honor and a pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you.
Really fantastic conversation. I learned a lot. And thank you so much for coming to our studios here and sharing so much of your authentic self, who you are, and all these wonderful things. I could see now why you win the awards and the accolades, and you're beloved and respected in the work that you do. And we wish you nothing but the very best and continued success. And again, thanks for joining us here on CUTV News. It was a pleasure to have you with us.
I'm honored. Thank you, Jim.
As are we. Thank you, Paula Vail.
Thank you.
Paula Vail is clearly someone who is passionate about what she does and is working every day of her life to make our world a better place. To learn more about our special guest, Paula Vail, and her new book, Why Am I So Happy?, visit her website, wellnessinspired.com. For CUTV News, I'm Jim Masters. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.